Well, hey, it's Brain Muffin back, and it's a sad day in Mudville. I got 3 different articles, 2 of them with the same image, so that's pretty interesting. Mr. Wendig is histoire. Star Wars writer Chuck Wendig claims Marvel fired him for vulgarity and too much politics on his social media. And that may be true. Also, calling the fans a bunch of bad things, that may have something to do with it too. So, at New York, so this one is Gizmodo. So we're down in the inner bowels of the interwebs. At New York Comic Con last weekend, Marvel Comics officially announced Shadow of Vader, a 5-part Star Wars miniseries written by Star Wars Aftermath book trilogy scribe Chuck Wendig. Except the last 2 issues will no longer be penned by Wendig, as the author was just revealed Marvel's fired him. Yeah, and I've not read any stuff, but I know people who have, and they've made some videos and other comments about it. Apparently it was pretty bad. In a lengthy statement posted to Twitter, how do you I guess you post a link to a lengthy statement. Wendig confirmed he's been fired by Marvel from both the final 2 issues of Shadow of Vader as well as yet to be announced SW book. IO9 reached out to Marvel Comics for a statement on Wendig's departure, but a spokesperson would only confirm that the publisher and Wendig have parted ways. We can neither confirm nor deny. That's all they do, is they can say, yep, we're no longer under contract. Also asked Lucasfilm for a comment on Wendig claims, and we'll update this story. So sources closer to the matter said Marvel was ongoing conversations with creators about social media use, but they're not specified. How about the not telling people to anyway. According to the writer, the decision came directly from the editor of Star Wars Comics at Marvel, Mark Panizia, I guess, who said Wendig's vocal presence on social media discussing Star Wars' reaction to the recent films in the saga like The Last Jedi and U.S. politics as a primary reason for the decision. Now, you gotta believe that Wendig's politics and most of the people at Marvel are probably in parallel. So it's too much politics, too much vulgarity, too much negativity on my part. So here's the thing that just happened. I just got fired from Marvel, taken off issues 4 and 5 of Shadow of Vader, and taken off as yet unannounced Star Wars book. This might be a long thread, so apologies in advance. Oh, okay. So I guess he went on and on and on and on and on. Wrath came elements in there, LGBT characters that were not received well by a certain subset of fandom, like most of it. That resulted. The subset is the LGBT wanting things. Resulted in both a negative review campaign found across various FB groups and other worse places on the internet. So even in his thing, he's still at it. Okay, 80% of the American population is sick and tired, no matter if they're left or right or in the middle, is sick and tired of political correctness BS. And it's the wingnuts on both sides that might be as much as 8% on each side that everybody's tired of. And it's mostly on the left, because the wingnuts on the right are there's 12 of them, and they hang out in the cornfields of West Virginia from time to time. To rewind a bit, I just said that. It's scary too, so I don't understand that was happening. Okay, so really, yeah, scary. Bull crap, you didn't understand what was happening. You were the one that was starting it all. If you would have just written your stuff and stopped tweeting and interrupting the fan, making fun of the fans and instigating the fans and everything else, and none of this would have happened. Usually not to be lumped in with the more septic side of fandom. Yeah, the septic side of fandom, you mean the people who pulled apart the Last Jedi based on its movie merits, not based on what it said or didn't say? Oh, come on, Chuck. Let's try to at least be a little truthful here. Also receiving tons of harassment, tons, yeah. After you were dishing it out, that was gone on for years? And warn them of swatting attempts, harassment across all corners of the internet. Yeah, and here's the thing about that, Chuck. That kind of activity is people who are the pro SJWs, not the anti. Because us anti-SJWs are too busy at work most of the day to put up with your crap. And I was worried, of course, because, I thought I had screwed up. I wondered for a time if I was bad. Yeah, this is full of just, woe is me. I didn't mean, I don't want to read the rest of this. This is ridiculous. These forces seek to exit from it marks merely the latest successful weaponization of supposed appeal to civility by online trolls. Notable past toxic culture campaign Gamergate and its copycat. It's not a copycat. Cited the need for civil discourse while at the same time leveraging targeted campaigns of harassment, including death threats, and this was people talking about Gamergate were being doxxed. The people in Comicsgate are not doxing anybody, but they're having crap done to them. This is just bass backwards. And I imagine who championed progressive values or criticized President Trump on social media. Right. Yeah. It's let's see. So this is James Whitbrook. A response: I've not been a fan of Wendig's writing style, not something that really affects his comments, but this is just an absolutely shitty way to treat the guy. Involved the far right trolls. James Gunn's firing when it came out when he was a pedophile. Okay, that's why he was canned. Let's see what we have over on Screen Rant. So Thomas Bacon, I bet you we're going to get the same BS over here. Has been fired. Last week's Nelson Shadow. Okay, yeah, we saw that, heard that already. Has been fired from both the two issues. So chosen to go public is probably because he was little to fear. Yeah, he's already gone. So okay, there's some more. It's important to understand the background of this issue. First entries of the aftermath. Receive some criticism due to their writing style. I'd say most of the criticism, at least that I've heard, has been due to the writing style. I mean, it's like 9th grade English style of writing, if that, which used an unusual form of present tense. In other words, does that mean he invented his own grammar? They triggered a backlash in some circles due to their inclusion of LGBTQ, RST, WP, and Y, and sometimes X characters. Yeah, I doubt that. Until these articles, I had no idea that was in there. Of all the criticisms I heard, none have mentioned that. So that goes to show that they don't have an argument. All they have is woo-hoo-hoo. So it's fine when they're dishing it out. But as soon as it comes back to them and smacks them in the face, they are a bunch of little pansies. Found himself on the receiving end of some pretty nasty online abuse. Yeah, okay. More claims of the same, but of course we're not going to show any examples of that. Just make the claim and move on. So that's actually a nice short article. One more. Star Wars author Chuck Wendig says he was fired by Marvel over vulgar tweets. Now, this may actually be a bit more accurate. It's really the incitement of the fans. I mean, they're really going after the fans, and that's what... There were people who liked some of his stuff that he was starting to put off because of that. We know that he was fired for the remainder of the series because of the negativity and vulgarity that my tweets bring. It was too much politics, too much vulgarity, and too much negativity on my part. So it's like he starts to take ownership of this and then he just veers off and doesn't. Went on an online long campaign harassment campaign Wendig went on to outline. It'd help if I read what's actually there. A long-running campaign of harassment that accompanied his 2015's Aftermath, first novel in Canada. Fans of the defunct expanded universe were upset that his books were replacing. Well, that's not his fault. While this took the issue that his outspoken progressive values, that is his fault. Has written for Marvel before, writing the comic adaptation of The Force Awakens and issues of Marvel series Hyperion. Earlier this week, that he discovered on his account had been temporarily suspended, which lasted for 5 hours. I wonder why that happened. I mean, Twitter does not suspend the SJW community. They suspend somewhat conservative-ish people. Learn at the era of the numerous right-wing personalities. One tries. Yeah, there's probably people that are, and I'm not one of them. Not a right-wing personality, but I just ignore them. But Chuck did block a lot of people who never once sent him anything. So I find this very incredulous because he was constantly blocking people. I know several people personally who had never tweeted, never even looked at his stuff, and they went to go look because they said something and they were blocked. So I'm very suspicious of this too, and the fact that they didn't list anything. And okay, after a right-wing troll campaign turned up offensive tweets that he posted a decade ago, and that does happen. But see, James Gunn, it was more than his tweets. That was just the tip of the iceberg. DC will have him. That's great. Disney World going to burn through talent if they fire everyone who's ever said anything on Twitter that others disagree with. Are you talking about the pedo jokes from James Gunn? Yeah, the thing is, it wasn't joking. And I didn't think it was that bad. His tweets were explicit and insanely vulgar. That's certainly qualified as dehumanizing speech with respect to, it comes back to what type of speech you want to allow and what we consider acceptable. A knife cuts both ways. You did. I'm overjoyed when another alt-right shitbag gets thrown off Twitter for the terrible things that they say, but we just keep our house clean as well. Co-founder of Force Design for donating $1,000 to California Prop 8. Yeah. So I mean, as far as like on a human level, it's kind of sad that some guy's lost his job or whatever. But this guy, the way he was treating fans and what he was tweeting, I mean, it's nice to see his chickens come home to roost, as it were, to quote Barry. Or no, that was Reverend Wright. And America's chickens have come home. Well, Wendig, your chickens have come home to roost, and your lack of civility has cost you work. But it'll probably die down, and you'll probably get rehired at some point. They just won't make an announcement. You'll get some. You're not an alt-right nutbag, so you're going to get rehired somewhere along the line. We'll say, Chuck, here's what we're going to do. We're going to commission you to do something. We'll do it under pseudonym. We won't tell anybody, and just don't say anything on Twitter about it, and we'll pay you $2 million for your shitty writing style. All right. Thanks for stopping by. And so what do you think? Are you overjoyed? I mean, it's turnabout's fair play. They're have gotten people fired over tweets and other things, and now it's coming back at them. And I like seeing that at least there's some equality of lack of opportunity based off of their, and Wendig just seems like, from what I know of his writing style, it's horrible. I don't know anything personally, but you reap what you sow, dude, and you sowed well. See ya.